The motivation was there must be a better way to do this. And that was kind of how CarSwitch came about. So my name is Imad Hamad. I'm the founder of CarSwitch, which is a platform to help people buy and sell used cars. Prior to this, I was a management consultant for about 10 years at McKinsey & Company in the Middle East. And before that, studied engineering in Toronto as a computer engineer. I'm from the region for the region, so I wanted to be here in the Middle East. And I've always thought used cars are just much better value than new cars. So I've been a big fan of used cars, particularly when you buy them directly from an individual, right? You skip dealership margins, it's great value. It does come with a lot of pain. You typically don't know what it is that you're buying. You don't know if you can trust it. You need to find the right car. You're talking to a lot of strangers often that may be unreliable. There's a lot of paperwork that you have to figure out from financing, insurance, etc. So it's great value, very painful. The motivation was there must be a better way to do this. And that was kind of how CarSwitch came about. In the early stages, we had the idea to create something that improves a problem. Right? A painful journey of extracting value from used cars or capturing that value. But we weren't really clear on what the business model was. And so I think I think often startups are in that phase where you know the problem that you want to solve, you have an idea of how to do it, but you're not, crystal clear on every detail. And that becomes quite tricky because we're really defining our business model, our operations, our technology, all the legalities, our funding. You're tackling so many problems all at once. And so I think that was really probably the biggest challenge at the very early stages of where do you find your feet? What problems do you tackle first? How do you order all of this and how do you go about it? As a founder, it was very challenging because of course you can't hire a very large team early on, right? So you're still trying to sort out funding, etc. So really you roll up your sleeves. So I was operations for the first several months, right? I was the first call center agent, the first sales agent, the first mechanic, the first test driver, the first insurance closer. Every step of the process I was intimately involved in to just understand how are we going to do this, speak to customers directly, know what the pitfalls are, etc. So I'll be honest, the first year wasn't glamorous. It was tough work, but it was important to just understand what we're going to do. And then from that scale and just do more, rinse and repeat. So for us, I think the aspiration is really on reach. So our evolution is to bring CarSwitch as a platform and as a service to as many relevant markets as possible, which are primarily emerging markets where peer-to-peer used car transactions are prevalent. And I think our core product is quite innovative, scaling very rapidly. We're seeing tremendous traction in Saudi Arabia, where we launched about a year ago. It's already the size of the UAE business, is really on fire there. So I think our evolution is really how do we bring this to more markets in the region. Egypt, Turkey, Pakistan, Algeria, Morocco, Iraq, and how do we touch, I guess, as many transactions as possible. I think the evolution past increasing awareness and reach becomes on adding more products. So obviously the car transaction is a very meaningful one. It's a very large transaction with many peripheral opportunities around it. We're very focused right now on the transaction itself, but what we would do in the future is add insurance, financing, car care, servicing, finance. There's a lot of other opportunities to add on. Well, I'm obviously biased on CarSwitch specifically. I think if I thought more broadly on what qualifies successful startups, in my mind, it really does come down to speed and quality. And these things often contradict one another. But I think, at least at CarSwitch, what we've tried to do is be as fast as we can. And I think that is key to startups, because often you're finding your feet. If you can move quickly with a decent level of quality in your execution, you'll always be able to try different things. And so if you fall flat on your face in one thing, if you're able to pivot very quickly, you'll find your feet and you'll find the opportunity. So I think that's a key ingredient. And to be perfectly honest, look, being in the right place at the right time gets a lot of credit as well, right? So I think it's the combination of really great execution that is fast, which is hard to pull off, in combination with a bit of luck, gets you to where you would ultimately want to be. It's a broad adventure, and you're tackling so many different things that are often outside of your comfort zone. I think the strongest advice that I wish I leaned on more is really talk to people. Talk to other entrepreneurs going through it. Get plugged into the ecosystem. You'll hear a lot of advice. You don't need to reinvent the wheel on a lot of this. Everybody's facing the same challenges and kind of coming up with solutions to some of the very similar problems. And I think the more plugged in you are, the more pitfalls you can avoid. I think you just really need to invest that time, and it is quite an investment on time, of getting plugged in and speaking to people. Our link to success, I think, for every person it may be defined a bit differently. For us and for me, I think it's really about maximizing the impact that you can have. And to do that, you need to touch as many transactions as many individuals you can. So for me, CarSwitch is highly successful if we can touch a very large number of transactions, which is our core business, and elevate the experience of those transactions in as many markets and to as many people as we can.